What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day today, no matter where you live, no matter what time of day it is, no matter if you watch it today, many days ahead, weeks, months, or even years. I still wish you a very good day. And so, today's topic of discussion is, can Stain defeat Endeavor? So before I get into that, I just want to do a brief FYI. Anime onlys, you can watch this video, so do not worry, there is not going to be any spoilers in this video. The only spoilers this video will contain is spoilers to, like, the anime. For instance, what we've already seen in the anime, with Stain's character and Endeavor's character, that's the only spoilers I'm going to be talking about. So if you're not up to date with the anime, obviously don't watch the video, but I mean, in terms of anime onlys that are up to date, you can watch this video and be completely fine, because I will not be talking about stuff that are like way off in the future of the manga. So, like I said, do not worry. So with that being said, let's talk about the topic, Stain versus Endeavor. Who would win? This is something that's been in my mind for a while now, and it's always been something I've went back to when I thought about Stain. What would have happened if Stain wouldn't have went unconscious, he wouldn't have had, like, his rib go into his lung, and he wouldn't have passed out at that moment when he finally hit the ground and got defeated? What would have happened if he would have charged Endeavor and fought him? For instance, if it was just a fight between Endeavor and Stain, who would win? That is the question I have. So, let's put this in perspective. Let's say Stain wasn't injured, he managed to be completely fine. Miraculously, he was fine or whatever, and he was facing Endeavor in that moment at the end of the Stain arc. Who would win in that fight? That is the question I have. Now, I don't think I need to give any clarification to who Stain is, but just in case you forgot about Endeavor, let me explain a little bit more of his backstory. Endeavor, he is the world's worst father in Boku no Hero Academia. He is someone that has treated Todoroki like a tool, but also he is someone that is good at his job, but he's not fit for being a hero. He's good at being a hero, but he's not fit for one because of his personality and what he wants. He's greedy and wants his own goal, his own objective, and he really doesn't care much for the people. He just wants to be the #1 hero. He wants to beat All Might, and so he's using his own child to be able to be #1. And so he's not necessarily a good person at all. He's good at his job, but he's not a good person, and he's also someone that has shown that he's incredibly powerful. I mean, when we saw an episode dedicated to him a little bit when he was fighting the Nomus, he was, you know, beating them up with his raw strength. He's able to think about how he could use his quirk to kind of stop the regeneration of the Nomus, to also how he was able to use the wall and use his, like, magma, like his fire, to kind of put an indent in the wall to be able to run up it. Well, you've seen that the man has great control of his quirk, and he's way above any other hero we have seen besides All Might. So it's clear as day that he is definitely worthy of the second spot in Japan's top heroes. But here's the thing, though. Even though he is #2, could he beat Stain? Now, let's look at Stain's track record for a second. Stain is a character that has the title Hero Killer. He has killed many heroes. Now, in terms of Hero Killer, it doesn't necessarily mean that he has killed people, and that's the only thing he does. When he kills people, or when his title goes to Hero Killer, he actually just ends their career as a hero. He either breaks their back to the point like he did, you know, Ida's brother, to where, you know, they can't do anything, or they can never be a hero again. Like, he just shatters it, and he shatters their entire dream to where they can never be a hero ever again, or do hero work. That's what it effectively means to be a hero killer. It's not just killing people, but it's also him just destroying careers. And so Stain has been this symbol of evil that is shown that he wants a just society. He wants society to be more like his viewpoint, his perspective, his, you know, ideology, and that's what he tries to do. That's what he wants to achieve. Now, besides his background overall, Stain has shown throughout his fights that we have seen in the anime and even in the manga that he is incredibly skilled. He is someone you cannot underestimate. And in the grand scheme of things, when you look at Stain, he doesn't rely on his quirk. He actually mostly relies on his hand-to-hand physical combat with his knives, his katana, whatever, to fight his opponents. He doesn't rely always on his quirk. Now, he does use his quirk, but he doesn't rely on it to win fights. We have seen that when he was fighting Todoroki, Izuku, and Ida, he was able to overpower these three like it was nothing, and the only reason why he got as hurt as he did was because his own ideology trapped him in a corner, and he didn't want to harm them or kill them since they had the potential to be really good heroes in society, so he didn't want to harm them at all, which in turn led to his defeat. But let's just say, for some reason, Stain didn't get injured, he put them down, he didn't kill him, but he put them down, and he managed to find Endeavor finally and, you know, get to fight him. So Stain he has shown that he's incredibly powerful. He's able to think real quickly, figure out how he can overcome people with these crazy quirks. Like, for instance, Isuku's quirk is not something to joke about. You have it to where Todoroki's quirk is extremely powerful, and he does pretty fast as well. And it's shown that Stain is able to deal with these quirks and overcome those. So Stain is incredibly powerful. He is not someone that you could just joke around with and go easy on, even though he does rely on his quirk. He has shown that he is skilled and can deal with many different varieties of opponents. Now, let's look at Endeavor. As I said, Endeavor, his quirk is pretty OP. It's the fire side of Todoroki, and he has had a lot of years to master this quirk, and he has shown that it's not just his quirk that makes him crazy, it's also his thinking ability, his hand-to-hand combat, and how he can manipulate his quirk to be able to do things that you just never would expect. For instance, going up a wall, being able to stop the regeneration of a Nomu, to be able to, like, sling fire and all that into the sky, just all these different things. It's obvious that Endeavor, he doesn't just rely on his quirk, he also relies on his physical strength as well. So he has something that is qualified to be a very good hero doing his job. So, what would happen if these two characters, like, just competed against each other? Who would necessarily win? When you look at it on paper, it's obvious many would want to side with Endeavor, because Endeavor's quirk is extremely OP. He's the second strongest hero in Japan, and he's someone that clearly is not someone you could just play around with. But then we gotta look at Stain as well. Stain is a character that obviously you can't play around with either, and his mentality and the way he can force himself even with injuries to continue to move is something that's extremely scary. Even at that moment when he got up and he was injured and all that, and when he looked at everyone and he stated like who could kill him, who could take him down, he stated only All Might can do this, and he looked at Endeavor, and even Endeavor, he backed up. He even got scared, which shows how scary Stain was in that moment. The second strongest hero in Japan backed up because of how scared he was. So Stain has this presence about him to which can really scare individuals, especially if you don't have a strong will to stand up to this evil presence, and that's what Stain was admitting when he was looking at Endeavor. And if that fight would have happened, that would have been a bloodbath between both parties. Now, Stain's quirk, let's look at his quirk, okay? Since I already stated like he doesn't rely on it, but let's talk about his quirk. Stain's quirk is extremely strong, but like I said, he can't always rely on the quirk because it's something that you can't always use in combat, and that is why he relies on his hand-to-hand physical close-range combat, because his quirk relies on him being able to lick someone's blood, and then he paralyzes them up to 8 minutes long. So, depending on if he can put a wound on an individual and then get their blood, then he has the advantage with his quirk. The question is, could he be able to get close enough to actually attack, you know, Endeavor and bring him down? So let's discuss this. Number one, Stain has speed. He has a lot of speed, he's very cunning, and he's very strong. But the same can be said for Endeavor. Now, Endeavor, from clarification, he probably at that moment, he didn't really know how Stain's ability really worked. He had really no idea, not many really knew what quirk he was using to bring people down at all. And so let's go into this saying Endeavor had no idea what Stain was capable of in terms of his quirk, okay? He didn't know that Stain could, you know, paralyze him with his blood, if he got to lick his blood or something. Let's say Endeavor had no idea about that, okay? So, let's say the fight began, and Endeavor's using his flames and trying to shoot at, you know, Stain, trying to keep him back or whatever, using long range. Stain's trying to close in the gap, get close and all that. We do know that Stain is capable of closing gaps, especially against ranged opponents. Look what he did to Todoroki. He was able to close that gap even though Todoroki's quirk is so insane. So, in terms of long-distance quirks like someone like Endeavor, it still probably wouldn't be enough to keep Stain back if he really wanted to get close to an individual. So, eventually, Endeavor would have to resort to hand-to-hand combat, up close using fire. And that's the thing, though. Even though he has to resort to that, if Stain gets one blow on him, it's over. Because Endeavor obviously wouldn't know exactly what, you know, he has or what he can do with his quirk. So, here's the thing. In terms of skill and fighting heroes, since Stain has been in combat so many times, life or death situations with heroes and stuff, or even villains, it's obvious that this man most likely could get the jump on Endeavor if Endeavor had no idea what quirk he had. For instance, if he had no idea and Stain got the jump, managed to take a blow and then lick his wound or whatever, get some of his blood on his blade and then lick it, it's GG right then and there. Because here's the thing that really matters the most about this quirk when it comes to Stain. Stain's quirk is dependent on the blood type of the individual. For instance, it starts off with the longest, like in 8 minutes, you'll be paralyzed if you have a B blood type. If you have AB, it's the second longest, and then it goes into, like, A, and then it goes into, like, O or whatever. It goes up, and O is, like, the shortest one you can possibly have. But, see, Endeavor, he has the blood type of AB, so it's actually the second longest. So, he's not B, but it's AB, so he might be paralyzed up to 6 or 7 minutes if Stain gets a hold of his blood. So that's an automatic loss right there. And like 6 minutes or 5 minutes being down, all that being generous with time, or even 4 minutes, no, you know what, even 2 minutes, that's enough for Stain to handle an individual like Endeavor if he can't move and he's paralyzed. So right there, I think Stain would win. If he managed to get any wound on Endeavor, because Endeavor had no idea what Stain was capable of, he would lose. He straight up would lose. And I think if Endeavor did know, it'd be kind of middle. It'd definitely be middle ground. I know Endeavor probably wouldn't want to engage any way in close range combat against him because of how he fights, but I believe, though, because of Stain's fighting ability and how he can get close to an individual, it would still be very close. I believe if Endeavor knew, he might win. But if it's going into a fight like what was in the Hero Killer arc and all that, I'm going to assume that Stain would win. I mean, it's granted, since his blood type is like it is, and Stain does not like Endeavor, like he straight up does not like Endeavor. Like, Endeavor is the very, I guess, meaning to what he doesn't like about the Hero Society. That's what, you know, Stain doesn't like. He doesn't like people like Endeavor. He is the big pinnacle, the symbol of what he hates the most. And so when you see that, you know for a fact Stain wouldn't just back off. He would want to bring someone like him down, especially someone that's the second strongest hero that is like that corrupt and messed up. He would definitely want to bring him down just to stay a point, because if Stain could bring down the second strongest hero, then that would send waves throughout the entirety of, the entirety of media to, across the internet and everything in the Boku no Hero Academia verse, just because he was able to bring someone down as strong as Endeavor, but also make him look like a fool because he was that corrupt. That's what I want to point out. So overall, in terms of winning, I think it would be close if both had knowledge of each other. Well, obviously, Stain would have knowledge on Endeavor, but in terms of Endeavor, if he had knowledge on Stain, it would probably be very close, and it might turn out to be Endeavor's favor. But if it was a fight to where, Endeavor had no idea, I believe he'd be careful, but he'd probably still lose, because one mess-up just takes one mess-up, one cut, that's it. And it's over. It's GG, and he can't do anything. But also, we gotta remember, Endeavor's a hero, so he can't necessarily kill an individual. He can't go out of his way and kill someone. So he has to hold back his strength, and also the damage to the surroundings. So being a hero also brings in with many limitations. Like I said, he may be a terrible person, but he's good at his job. And so that would mean that he would not be able to try to kill Stain. So you'd have to hold back his flames, and Stain would know this. He would abuse that to be able to get near him. So at the end of the day, it'd be very close, but I believe Stain would overcome Endeavor if he had no information. Endeavor might win. So yeah, tell me your thoughts. Who do you think would win in this matchup, Endeavor or Stain? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, please leave a like on it. And if you want to support me for I can continue to focus on YouTube, please support me on Patreon. Link is in the description. I do appreciate it if you do that. And so with that being said, I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.